You are smart, you are capable, you've done the diets, maybe even therapy, the mindset work. You know everything that there is around how to lose weight and all the things. You could teach other people how to do it. You could write a book about how to lose weight, but the food obsession, the weight obsession, the emotional spirals after you overeat or overdo it, they still creep in. Why is this happening? Despite knowing all the right things to do, I want to tell you that it's because what's driving your patterns is not your body. It's not your body. It's not you. It's not metabolism. It's not menopause. It's not your age. It's not any of that kind of stuff. It's your emotions. And whether you feel emotions a lot or you never feel emotions at all, or you feel like your relationship with your emotions is pretty okay, or maybe it's just like, no, but it really can't be my emotions. I just want to invite you to just stay tuned, listen to this episode, because I'm going to show you why this work using my HEAL method, hypnosis, emotional mastery, aligned authentic action, and learning lasting self-care and communication creates the subconscious reprogramming that actually allows you to get out of the mental madness around food, body, and weight. This truly is the last stop to your weight loss journey. So we're going to walk through today why you binge, when you feel good, even why you restrict when you feel bad, and how your emotions, not your weight, have been running the show. And if you have a little skepticism, a little bit of not sure, Leslie, if that's actually what's it, that's okay. Just stay tuned. Let's have an exploration together. Let's see. So I want this episode to be your wake up call if you're ready for that and your way out. So welcome to the Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss podcast. I'm Leslie Thornton. If you're new to the podcast, been doing this for years now, since 2020, and it gets better every year. And if you've been a long time listener, hi, thank you so much for being here, for listening. It means everything to me to get to be someone who's in your earbuds and contributing to your walk and your drive and that aspect of your life. Podcasting is awesome in that way. So thank you. Let me know you exist. Find out a way to communicate with me. Drop me a love note, Facebook or something. Find me. I would love to hear from you. Good. So yeah, this is a space where high achieving women, high performing women, like, you know how to get stuff done. You tick the boxes, right? And that's why you've been able to be successful at losing weight in the past. You know how to do it because you know how to stay on track and follow a list, and any program has a tick off box, and you can do that. You're totally capable. Yeah. And despite being smart and despite all that kind of stuff, internally, there's a lack of inner peace. There's, sometimes feeling isolated, exhausted, feeling burnt out. And there's a lot of control. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of obsession around your weight, how you look, your body, your eating. And yeah, I'm a master trainer of hypnosis, neurolinguistic programming, which is basically behavior change on a very deep subconscious level. And yeah, certified as a professional coach since 2014, and certified as a hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner since 2015. I'm a lady who understands how the mind works and really is passionate about living your very best life. And my experience after struggling on the food, body, and weight train for years and years, my first diet was 8 years old, and I was constantly up and down and all the different things. I got to a point where I kept 45 pounds off. I was 108 pounds at 5'2". And within 6 months, I went up to 170. So gained 65 pounds. And that process of gaining weight back that I thought I, figured out and was going to keep it off forever, and I'm never going to go back again. Like, how many times have you said that to yourself after being successful with a diet? That's when I really came to the conclusion that I did not have a willpower problem or a me problem. There wasn't anything wrong with me. I just never actually learned how to tackle my emotions. And that emotions at the end of the day were driving the ship. So if you're ready to stop dieting, because dieting doesn't work, 95% of people who diet gain the weight back within a year or two, and really start healing. You want to heal through the constant thinking and etc. You're in the right place. I'm excited for this podcast episode. So, yeah, let's dive in for you today. So, yeah, I understand, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, that you're smart and you're capable and you probably built a really incredible life. I've had so many people say to me, like, I should be so happy. Like, I have so many amazing things in my life, but I'm exhausted. I'm not actually happy. And I keep thinking about my weight all the time. So, you're not alone. And I understand that you're probably someone that people come to for advice a lot. Like, a lot of things, you give good advice to people. And on most days, you can hold it together and you're happy to do that for people. You like people coming to you. That was me as well. And you've tried every plan and every tool and every mindset hack, about taking walks and distracting yourself and meal planning and all those types of things. But I want you to think about how you feel and think on your bad days. So I just spoke to a woman who's considering my program yesterday, and she was sharing with me about, when I asked her about her relationship with her emotions, she was like, honestly, pretty good. And like, I feel pretty good about myself. And like, I know all these different things. That's great. And on your bad days, how is it? What are your thoughts? What are your emotions like? What happens? And what she shared with me was that, after she might go out with friends and, drink and eat and kind of just be on that social train, which she wants to be on, live a social life, then the next day she feels bloated. She feels like she gained 5 pounds overnight. And yeah, kind of not good, and what she does next then is she does some form of control, some sort of restriction. She also notices that she doesn't treat her partner very well on those days. She's short with him or critical of him. And good for her, she was aware that it's because she was feeling critical of herself. So we also want to look at how on those bad days when we are in our pattern of not feeling good and restricting or controlling, or how this is affecting your relationships as well. Your relationship with your kids. I have a lot of moms of, grown children, sometimes young children, but a lot of grown children. And yeah, teenage years or after in their 20s, they're going through a lot of emotional stuff. And you're also going through your emotional stuff and not necessarily sure how to handle it on those bad days. So if it doesn't motivate you to put yourself first all the time, then maybe can you put your partner first? Can you put your kids first and get that by you're not taking action on the emotional issues for yourself? This is hurting them. And I would love for you to actually love yourself enough to get how much it's hurting you and put yourself first, because everything changes as soon as you learn how to master all this stuff, and you can do it. You're totally capable. So you wake up the next morning, potentially you're full of regret, guilt. Why did I do that? I should know better. I should have drank more water. I should have said no. I just got that drink because Sally got that drink. And if I just said no and I wasn't so weak to say yes when everybody else was having a good time, I wouldn't have had that. And on and on and on. Again, then maybe try to restrict. Okay, today I'm not eating. Okay, let me go out for a run right now. I'm going to fast today until dinner. And sometimes you stick with it, and that might make you feel temporarily empowered and good. And there could also, and this happened to the woman I was speaking to yesterday, is sometimes then she feels bad because she's not having dinner with her partner, or she's not able to have a good day, in having a meal with her partner. And then she feels bad, and then she'll eat. And then the cycle continues. And so you say, all right, well, I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to not connect with my partner. So then you eat. But then while you're eating, there's still that mental chatter going on of like, why am I doing this? And maybe I shouldn't, but okay, it's fine. And it's just like that back and forth constantly. That's just like, and I asked this amazing woman yesterday, how often is this back and forth going on? She's like all the time. And so, yeah, just check in with yourself. If you are resonating with what I'm saying, like how often is that back and forth happening? Now, if you don't experience a lot of that back and forth, and maybe you've gotten really good at restricting, you've gotten really good at perfectionism, and perfectionism is another way to avoid. So, yeah, you can look at it like, so think of a time when you weren't being perfect or you weren't really good at control. Maybe there was a time in your life when you felt like you were really gaining weight or you really couldn't stay consistent. How did you feel then? Was there more back and forth going on then? Um, yeah. And I would assert most likely, obviously, we're not having a conversation. I would need to ask you, but probably. And that back and forth. And so controlling and finding a way to be perfect on a diet is still not freedom. Can you see that it's still not freedom? Because if you were to make a choice to want to socialize or indulge in a certain special treat, that could potentially send you into a downward spiral or kind of start, into that kind of place. And there's a spectrum of how downward it could be, or overthinking. Like maybe it starts a pattern of you're just like thinking, 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 thinking. And it's just a way to, it's just a pointing to how unsafe your nervous system feels, to be honest. And there's so much compassion for you there. I just want you to know that there's a way out of that. And yeah, ask for yourself of, does it feel like, even though I feel like when I stay consistent, I'm free, I'm not actually free. I had someone speaking to me last week about how she remembered, I think current client, how she remembered that when she followed a super strict program like I did, where you never ate sugar and you never ate flour and you never da 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 da, that when she would go to the grocery store, she'd see the aisle of candy and she'd be completely unaffected. And I totally can relate to that. So when I followed the food addiction program for 3 years, it did get to a place, you say no enough times to sugar, etc., that stuff is not appealing. And so it's like, oh, so that's freedom. Here's the part of like the question mark for me of, is that actually freedom? If you had a piece of sugar or you had a candy bar for whatever reason, would it start the food noise? Would it make you feel unnerved somehow in your body, unsafe, out of control a little bit? Could that potentially be the start of the place you've been before, where it seems like there's no end to eating sugar? For me, that was the case. And that is what happened, is I started to indulge a little bit and it ended up going all the way to the weight gain again. And, if you're part of the huge statistic that's gained and lost weight however many times in your life, most likely that's the train. So it's like, is the diet actually freedom then? Is you following the diet consistently actually freedom? And I'll give you the contrast of that, of what freedom actually looks like for me, is I can have the candy if I want to, and there's no chatter, there's no fear, there's no, it's, if there is, it's so quiet that I don't even notice it. And it's a non-issue. And it doesn't change if I choose a salad later or if I choose a hamburger later. Like, that moment is that moment and it's fine. And I trust the choice in that moment. And there's no control or restriction or diet mentality going on at all. And it was funny that that client mentioned that to me last week, because it was just a few weeks prior, I was at the grocery store and saw the candy display at the register. And I also felt that same level of neutrality about it. Like, looking at everything, nothing calls my name, nothing is exciting, nothing. But the difference is I could have one of those things and it still would be nothing. So to me, that is actual freedom, is the neutrality, is like, I could have it or not have it. I could have the wine or I could have the club soda, and both are fine and doesn't create a high, doesn't create a super low. It's just a choice. To me, that is actual freedom. So you can ask yourself, like, what would that be like where I could have it or not have it, and both would be fine? It didn't trigger overthinking. It didn't trigger overanalyzing. It didn't trigger emotionality. It didn't trigger fear. It didn't trigger more eating. What would that be like for you? Is that something that you would like? And if it is, what would become possible for you? What will that make available to you in your life? Like for me, it was being able to be present in social situations. It was being able to feel more connected to people I cared about in social situations. It was about um, peace. It was about peace. All I really wanted to have for a very long time in my life was inner peace. And there's constant opportunities in life to continue growing and to continue healing. So like that's still the goal, you know, in all areas of life. So just want you to know it's possible for you to achieve peace in your life. And for myself, learning how to achieve peace in this area of life, because that was the noisiest area of my life. It was the loudest area of my life, thinking about my body and food all the time. That was the catalyst to me continuing to know A, it was possible to have peace in my life, any area of life, and B, that it was a worthwhile pursuit. That was a beautiful pursuit because life has gotten richer and more connected and more meaningful and more purposeful. And I've been able to listen to my true self and love myself and trust myself, and just getting to see my clients do that same thing too is just awesome. I mean, what's better than that? You could continue to chase the dopamine highs of the scale going down and down. And if you do choose that, that's okay. Um, and where will that lead you if you do that? Probably the same place again, because you cannot, if you don't heal it at the root cause, like the metaphor I'm thinking of is like if you could take, you know, pain meds for a sore back, and you could do that for the rest of your life. But if you're never actually healing the slip disc, you know, and I know, back issues can be lifelong. I have back issues myself, but like the root cause of it, then you're never actually healing. You're never actually going to live a life where you're done with the back thing, you know? And for me, if it's like, if I know I can be done with the back thing, like done, turn the page, like I'm going to do the thing to get done with the back pain. So that's what I just want. That's what the whole podcast is, me wanting everyone to know, is that you can be done with the whole weight loss thing. You could be done if you work on the root cause. And if it's not clear yet around the root cause, then let's keep chatting. Okay, on this exploration in this podcast. So it feels like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because if you do the good thing, you feel like you have to control, and then you feel like you're not connecting with people because you're not saying yes like they all are. You feel right. And then it's going to lead to eating, probably. Or, you know, if you eat, then you're going to feel bloated and fat and unattractive and ugly and like a failure. And then that's going to cause you to restrict, right? Like you're just in this hamster wheel forever. Um, yeah, does that sound familiar to you? If it does, you're definitely in the right place. So the real problem isn't the food or the weight. Not the food. It's not your weight. It's not neither. And here's what I want you to see. So in both cases, overeating and restriction, the catalyst wasn't your weight. It was your emotion. It was your emotions. So think about it. Think of the last time that you felt bad Maybe you made a food mistake, or maybe your pants were too tight, or you saw yourself in the mirror or a photograph of yourself. And what did you do? What did you do? What did you not do? I know for myself, I would definitely go like inward, and I would isolate myself, and I would feel like anxious, and I'd be like restricting. And then I want you to imagine, like, when you feel good, like, say there's a day where you're like, oh my gosh, think about a day recently that you felt really good in your clothes. You felt really good about your body. You felt really good. And so what did you do? I know when I feel good and excited and I like what I'm wearing, it's like confidence raises, and then I'm socializing. It's like, yeah, I'll have that glass of wine because my self-esteem is high. Like, yeah, I love myself. So just kind of looking at that for yourself. Um, and then after you do that and you socialize and you have fun, then what happens? Maybe you wake up the next day and oh, there's the bloat, scale went up some pounds. You know, it's not a big deal, but internally it feels like a big deal. And that's what you can't, or I don't recommend that you try to hide, because like you have a smart mind and you can say to yourself as much as you need to say of like, I know it's not that big of a deal and that weight will come off as soon as it came on. And so much of that is water weight, but that's just talk. How do you actually feel? Consider that the talking to yourself is a way to try to unconsciously numb from the fact that you feel shitty. You feel sad, you feel angry at yourself, you feel frustrated, you feel annoyed. And that's valid, that's important, but the avoidance of what you're actually feeling, and you may not be trying to do it, but is perpetuating the cycle. So feel bad, scale went up a couple pounds from the night before, and I was feeling so good, and then I made the mistake. And then you are like, okay, I'm gonna be disciplined today, I'm gonna restrict again, I'm gonna get myself back. And so the cycle restarted. It restarts again. And again, you think it's about the food or the discipline or the motivation, but really it's your mood. Your mood is driving the entire train. Can you see that? That your mood drives the entire train. Let's look at another topic that can come up that can show, because the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. So let's look at money. Can also be a very emotional topic for people. So have you ever noticed that when you feel confident, when you feel self-empowered, when you feel good about yourself, you have no trouble clicking on the Amazon and buy button? If you're an Amazon buyer purchasing something that you're like, oh yeah, I got this. I'm an empowered woman. I'm excited for this purchase. Oh, I'm not worried about my finances. Like, it's all good. And then have you ever noticed that, whenever, if you're feeling low, if you're feeling anxious or fearful somehow, could even be about your weight, that you start panicking about finances and you start hoarding it. It's like, oh gosh, like no. And then you'll put the stuff in the Amazon cart, but you won't buy. Again, both spending and restriction weren't actually about your bank account. They were about your emotions. So if emotions are driving your food, they're driving your money, they're driving your energy, and you're not learning how to actually address them, you're avoiding them, what's your future going to look like? So I can imagine that basically what your future is going to look like is you continuing to be a ping pong ball that is reacting to feelings. thinking this is true, then thinking that is true, and making actions and decisions based on reactions and not actually based on facts, based on what you want, based on where you're going. And if you have people who look up to you, children, grandchildren, they will also do that. It's just what happens. We hand it down. And so life will still be okay. It'll work out just fine. It works out just fine for pretty much everybody in our society who operates this way. And my clients are women who they do have goals and they do want to live a really good life. And they already do live a good life, but they want to actually enjoy their life and they want to be with their grandkids and they want to live longer and they want to. Yesterday, when I was talking to that potential client I was sharing about earlier, she mentioned two things. Like when I asked her about what she wanted in her future, she was like, well, I definitely need to lose the weight because I know the weight's not good and I know it's bad and this is that and the other thing and all of that kind of stuff. Totally. And she also said she wants freedom and she wants this and she wants that. And so it's like helping her see that both of those things are based off emotions. So again, when she's feeling good, she's going to be able to be like, oh, what I want is freedom and I want social connection. So that makes sense that when she feels good, that she's having the social connections and she's eating what she wants and she's all that kind of stuff. But when she feels bad, she's like, oh my gosh, like, what about my health and what about my future? And how am I ever going to get that? And so she goes into fear, scarcity, and lack when she feels bad and starts hoarding, restricting, controlling. So the concern about that I have for anyone I talk to is that you're never going to be able to actually make a decision because depending on what your core wound is. So if you have on your bad days, if it's like worthlessness, why should I bother? Why should I care? Or if you on your worst days, you have a core wound of like, there's something fundamentally wrong with me. I must be broken somehow. That is going to affect your decisions. So when it comes to you actually saying yes to doing something that's going to change your life, so whether it's my program or something else, if you're making the decision from I'm worthless or I'm broken, like I'm broken isn't going to say yes to herself. I was just re-listening to a podcast interview from a year ago on the She Sells podcast. It's a good interview. If you look up She Sells, you can find that interview of me on there. And she was talking about how every time that her life has actually shifted in positive ways, it's when she's made a decision out of self-love, out of like, I love myself so much that I'm going to get myself support. I love myself so much. I'm going to say yes to this thing that really is, I know is going to be something my heart wants so much. And that's my experience as well. So just looking at that pattern for yourself and consider that every diet you've done in the past has probably been initiated by the self-hatred part of you. So every diet you've done in the past might be like, $100 a month or $50 for a Weight Watchers membership online or, whatever. $200 a month for a meal service coming to pack the meals. Well, someone who hates themselves, okay, yeah, I hate myself, so therefore I'm worth $200. In order for transformation to shift, you actually get to make a choice from I love myself. And then watch how everything moves in like the ways that you really wanted to because of you're making a choice from that new direction. So, yeah, in order for things to change, we have to be willing to change, do something drastically different. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So let's kind of look a little bit deeper in what happens when you don't catch this. So you feel bad, you spiral, you vent to your husband, your mom, your friends. You tell them, maybe I have a weight problem. I can't control myself. You say it to people, or maybe you don't say it to anyone, and that feels super isolating. Nothing's working, tired of trying. And they're like, just stop trying. Like, you're fine. And we want you to be happy. And they believe you that you have a problem. Because if you keep telling them that, they will start to believe you. And then you're basically setting yourself up for failure because They're buying into this belief that something's wrong with you. And like I say to my clients, the only thing wrong with you is that you believe something's wrong with you. And these people aren't trained to know that this is a belief system that you have about yourself, that it's not actually about what you're saying it's about. And that's why you feel so misunderstood and isolated and alone. Okay. But then a few days later, after you have a sob party with your loved one, maybe your emotion passes and now you feel good. And so you're going to go out, you're going to feel good. Okay, that's gone. You have a glass of wine, then you have the snacks, and then same thing, feel bloated on the scale, blah, blah, blah. It's so maddening. So the flip flop isn't about truth, it's about emotion. And if we don't treat those low mood thoughts as serious signs, honestly, the avoidance of these emotions leads to disease. It leads to divorce. It leads to kids having behavior issues. And yeah, I know you don't want that. You care about people, you don't want to be responsible, but you can only help people up to the point that you can help yourself. So if you don't know how to help yourself, get help for yourself, and then everybody wins. So you'll keep riding that emotional yo-yo for your whole life. Okay, so here's the truth. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have a wiring issue, a pattern issue, right? Is your pattern feel bad, control, feel bad, indulge, feel bad, restrict? Like, what's your patterning? And yeah, that's what we do here with the hypnosis, the subconscious reprogramming, emotional mastery. This is where the patterns shift fast, and it starts with your identity. Yesterday I was working with a client and she said, I can't believe how rapidly your mind can change. She's just been so coachable. She's been willing to take action outside of her comfort zone. She's been willing to just like try stuff, even though she has reservation, and she's seeing dramatic results. Her mental chatter around food, body, and weight is not happening. She's only eating when she's hungry. Her husband's not only eating when he's hungry. She's had dramatic shifts in her relationship with her husband. She's working on relationship issues with her kids. She's starting to see herself as a whole different thing. Her core wound is I'm not important. And so to make a decision from I am important, has been her shift. And every single time that she's getting triggered, it's because she's believing I'm not important, which creates that whole negative cascade. So again, it's not a food problem, it's an emotional problem. So when you do this work, you don't spend all day stuck in food noise or shame spirals. Obviously, all the GLP ones are talking about food noise and blah, 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 and that is what it is. But you decrease the food noise by learning how to access the emotions and to change the thinking. And that's the real way you're going to be able to do it without needing those medications for the rest of your life. And that's your choice. That's up to you. But I just want you to know the food noise goes away when you do this work fast, quickly, quickly, quickly. You feel your feelings, you move through them, you're doing it with intention. You're not doing it to indulge, you're not doing them to avoid, you're doing them to intentionally move through them so you can get back to remembering your best self, feeling motivation, feeling energy, having more consistency in your life, and you get your day back, you get your energy back, you get your life back, deeper relationships, better relationships, etc. So this is not another shiny tool. This isn't a plan. It's going to feel counterintuitive. It's going to feel like this can't be the thing that's going to actually work. But this is where the obsession stops, where the control finally lets go. This is and can be the last stop on your weight loss journey. I wish somebody could have told me that years ago. I wanted that more than anything. So I'm just happy to be able to let you know that's available to you. You're capable, because once you heal at the root, emotionally, neurologically, you don't need to control anymore. You trust yourself. You feel safe inside your body. You know how to respond, not react. You know how to communicate in hard conversations or situations. The food freedom, that's honestly the emotional piece. It's what my clients really want. And you're closer than you think. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, that's me, that's my life, I want you to know, again, you're smart, you're capable, you've just been looking in the wrong place for too long. No diet or restriction is going to get you what you're actually needing. And I'm happy to help you sort through, even if you still have resistance right now, it's okay. It can help you break through to actually find out what you're actually needing, what's actually missing for you. And it starts with a phone call together. My website, hpwl.co/book, or cancel that, hpwl.info delete that as well. hpwl.co/apply is how you can book that call. So time to stop managing the symptoms and start healing the real problem. So let's do that together. That conversation, is just in full service to you to let go of all the chaos and to actually discover what could actually be in the way for you. Because, that's how I can really discover with you, like, what is your core wound, help it make sense to you, help you see what's actually possible for you. And then, from there, you can make a decision. At least you have answers and at least you can move and not just continue to be stuck in that back and forth for the rest of your life. So thanks so much for listening. hpwl.co/apply. And I'll see you for the next episode.
Ready to finally break free from the diet hamster wheel and create lasting transformation? I've put together a free hypnosis training just for you, where I break down why diets keep failing, the mindset shifts you need to stop the cycle, and how to rewire your subconscious for true effortless change. Text the word hypnosis to 1-855-232-5483 and I'll send it to you instantly. You don't have to keep struggling. Real freedom starts now. Take the first step. Text the word hypnosis to 1-855-232-5483.